I'm going to list some common addictions that I know of that I've observed in my adult life: alcohol, drugs, prescription or illicit, bad relationships, social media, changing your hair, that's a real addiction. Makeup is an addiction. Coffee is an addiction. Coffee is a pretty serious addiction. People like to act like it's like nothing, but I think it's pretty serious. Food is an addiction. Eating is an addiction. Sugar is an addiction. Vegetarianism is an addiction. Veganism is an addiction. Extreme dieting is an addiction. Shopping is an addiction. And not taking care of yourself properly is an addiction. So we have a lot of people who, are only drinking Diet Coke and eating pizza every day and never exercising, and then they're surprised Pikachu face when they get a heart attack. So I find that kind of odd. Um, Addictions are so common, I would dare to say that they're commonplace. And some are healthier than others. A lot are healthier than others. You can be addicted to physical fitness. You can be addicted to working. You can be addicted to things that are good for you within reason. Um, but yeah, I honestly don't believe that people really overcome their addictions. I think that they just replace them. The first step of recovering from an addiction is admitting to yourself that you have a problem, and you can't recover from your addiction if you don't do that. A pretty good example of swapping out addictions for another, one for another, is Alcoholics Anonymous. Like, a lot of alcoholics join Alcoholics Anonymous and then they become addicted to Alcoholics Anonymous. Or a lot of people who are or were addicted to some kind of heavy duty drug like meth or heroin or whatever. I don't care. It doesn't matter. A lot of them become, born again Christians or whatever. And I'm going to go so far as to say that Christianity is often actually an addiction. And like spreading the word of Christ is an addiction too. And I think that's very unhealthy. Religion is an addiction. And I don't really think it's really that kind or caring when a Christian group approaches people with substance abuse issues and says, "Oh my gosh, well, all of your problems can just be solved if you follow our Lord Jesus Christ." When I'm like, okay, I fucking know that you did heroin and you legitimately fucking replaced your heroin addiction with a Jesus freak addiction. Like, don't act like you're all high and fucking mighty when you have an addiction yourself and you're using it to just replace drugs. That's a big reason why I don't believe that people's addictions ever really go away necessarily. I think that they just get replaced or swapped out, um, or the behavior gets modified, right? So I think that a healthier way of going about improving an addiction you may have is by replacing it. Replace it with a different addiction. So I think that we should reframe our language since everyone has multiple addictions, right? Everyone does. You can be addicted to checking your email. You can be addicted to social media. You can be addicted to work. You can be addicted to working out. Okay. That's why workaholic is a term that we have. Okay. Um, However, I think that it is entirely possible to swap out your addiction or, like I said, modify your behavior um, with a different behavior. I don't think it's bad to be addicted to cooking. You know, if you love finding new recipes and trying them out and cooking for your friends, like, by all means, do that. I don't think it's wrong to be addicted to fitness to a certain degree. You know, you don't want to hurt yourself physically because people do that all the time. But if you really are invested in your physical state, that's a good thing. Um, a lot of people used to like tell me I was addicted to knitting, which I'm fine with. I'm happy to be a knitting addict. I love knitting. I'm always going to love knitting. So I think we should just start replacing our addictions with healthier ones, right? But let's also remember that the people you are hanging out with are likely encouraging or enabling your addictions, right? You know, a lot of people have friends who have their same habits, are hanging around people with their same habits, and bad company corrupts good character. So I think some questions you should ask yourself about any addiction you have. I don't care what it is. If it's fucking Candy Crush, I don't. Do people even play Candy Crush now? I don't know. Um, Questions you just ask yourself about your addiction. Is this addiction making my life better or worse? That's one question. How am I compared to my peers? That is a legitimate question you should ask yourself. I used to know someone who was well out of college, but, you know, still drinking as if she were still in her fucking sorority. And I was like, do all your friends really do this? But anyway, that's beside the point. Um, Another question. Do I feel joy when I engage in this behavior? A lot of people don't feel joy when they engage in a lot of behaviors that they're addicted to. They are, you know, a lot of people don't even like the means of the high. Like a lot of people don't like injecting themselves with drugs. A lot of people don't like physically drinking. Um, but they like feeling drunk. They like feeling fucked up. They like the high that they get, right? So you should be enjoying yourself when you're engaging in your addicted behavior, right? The next question I would ask myself is this addiction enriching my life? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, then maybe you should stop. I can't remember if I left a link for this in a different video, but I'm going to leave a really helpful video of Gabor Mate, who did a really great talk about addictions that I saw many years ago, and I never forgot it. So for further information, you can go watch that. Bye.